Today's element is so important, it pretty much defines the current epoch of human civilization. After the Stone Age and Bronze Age and Iron Age came the age of silicon. We're all in our silicon era. I am Sanjana Curtis and this is Stardust, a series where you and I will do a deep dive into the elements of the periodic table, their astrophysical origin stories, and their role in our lives here on Earth. Silicon has 14 protons in its atomic nucleus and 3 stable isotopes, silicon 28, 29, and 30. In the Earth's crust, silicon is mostly found as silicates, rock-forming minerals which all contain silicon and oxygen. Silicates make up 90% of the Earth's crust, and silicon dioxide, or silica, is the major constituent of sand. Pure silicon looks like this. Since it has properties in between metals and nonmetals, it is classified as a metalloid. All isotopes of silicon are made through oxygen burning in stars and supernovae. Oxygen burning means the fusion of 2 oxygen nuclei to make a silicon nucleus. Low-mass stars like our Sun don't reach the conditions needed to burn oxygen during their lives, but they still play a major role in the story of silicon. These stars can end their lives as white dwarfs, remnants made of mostly carbon and oxygen, which can explode in a type of supernova called a thermonuclear supernova. And during this supernova, oxygen is burnt to make silicon. For massive stars, oxygen burning does take place late in their lives, producing silicon, which is then followed by the final stage in the star's life, silicon burning. After this, the star explodes in what's called a core collapse supernova. And the silicon ejected in the core collapse supernova is some combination of the silicon made during the star's life and the silicon created during the explosion itself. We can actually see silicon in supernova remnants. This is a Chandra image of my favorite supernova remnant, Cassiopeia A. And here in red, you can see the distribution of silicon in that remnant. Speaking of remnants, there's a very interesting way in which silicon interacts with biology and geology here on Earth, producing fossils through a process called silicification. This happens when silica-rich fluids seep into voids and cracks in, for example, wood, replacing the original structure and organic material over time. This is how we end up with petrified wood and dinosaur fossil bones. For the final interesting thing about silicon, I want to talk about the role of silicon in modern electronics. Silicon is a semiconductor, meaning it has properties somewhere in between a conductor like copper and an insulator like rubber. Due to its electrical properties, silicon is used to make transistors, devices that function sort of like an electronic switch, helping us control the flow of electricity through a circuit. The concept of transistors was developed and refined throughout the 1900s, with the Bell Labs in the US playing a major role, and this led to a revolution in electronics. Today, transistors form the basis of nearly all modern electronics and computing, thanks to the fact that we can make them really, really tiny. Maybe, just like me, you have a MacBook with an M1 chip. That little chip contains 16 billion transistors. And of course, Apple continues to pack more on. And of course, there's billions of transistors in the iPhone that you're holding. So the next time you're at the beach with your toes in the sand and still staying connected to TikTok and the latest trends, you can thank silicon for helping you relax and stay connected.